Namaste, guys. ChristianRLong, Life Enhancement Consultant, giving you a big and beautiful shout out on this Monday evening here in Denver, Colorado. It's a little after 5 o'clock p.m. It literally feels like it's 4 o'clock in the morning. Alicia, Namaste. Good to have you on as always. Hope you're well. Hope you had a great weekend with friends and family. Maybe you spent time alone, just chilling and relaxing. And I was jumping on real quick and I was like, well, what are we going to talk about tonight? What's our topic going to be? And I realized I have a lot of past videos, past live streams that I've done that I have not uploaded from Facebook to my YouTube channel. So yesterday I started to get after it. Uploaded about 15 videos, and I have about 85 more videos to upload. A lot of videos, and the videos range anywhere from 5 or 6 minutes to over an hour, right? One of the videos I uploaded, I think the longest video I've ever uploaded to YouTube was like 2 hours and 30 minutes. And it was talking about all the lessons. Dean, Namaste. It was talking about all the lessons that I learned over the 21-day spiritual vacation that I did this past July into August. Life and soul transformative indeed. But I was just jumping on going, what can I talk about tonight? And talking about putting up the videos on YouTube. If you are not following our channel on YouTube, please do. Jeanette, Namaste. Good to have you on as always. Please do. You go to YouTube, ChristianRLong, YouTube, ChristianRLong, and we talk about energy, healing, meditation, and practical spirituality. Right now, we have about 185 videos. Always looking to add new value, new content, new ways of perceiving the world, new experiences. And yeah. Lucia, Namaste. Good to have you on as always. Hope you did your homework. But that being said, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. And what would you guys like to talk about tonight? What's important to you? What assistance do you need from taking you from where you are to where you want to be? You have subscribed. Yeah, awesome. I love it. More subscriptions, the better. Because this coming year, 2020, we're going to be spending a lot of time on interesting. We're going to be spending a lot of time on building up the YouTube channel. Better equipment, better audio, better graphics, because my ninja power is communication. I've done over 400 hours of live streams over the past several years, which is a lot. So I'm very comfortable interacting either one-on-one, with a group digitally, with a group face-to-face, doesn't really matter. So I want to stay in my zone of genius and take more of my energy and put it into YouTube. Why? Because people are accustomed to watching videos on YouTube. People are not necessarily accustomed to watching videos on Facebook. Makes sense, right? So that being said, we're going to be transitioning a lot of our videos and our live streams from Facebook gradually over to YouTube over the next few months. But that being said, for you beautiful souls right here, right now, what would you like to talk about? Again, we talk about energy healing, meditation, and practical spirituality, with the foundation being the teachings of my teacher, Grandmaster Choa Koksui, who is the modern founder of Pranic Healing or Hatha Yoga. That's a picture of him on the wall right there. And then the lineage we're part of is that lineage right there of Lord Bodhisattva Mei Ling. Or I'm sorry, that too. Lord Buddha Kuan Yin, the Buddha of compassion and mercy. Marcella, Namaste. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I think this is your first time on the live stream. Do you have any questions, any sticking points, any challenges in your life that you need assistance in? I've had the honor of doing this work for the past 15 years professionally, of taking people where they are to where they want to go through right viewpoint and through energy healing. It was interesting because for many, many years, all I did was heal people. Not all, right? But what I primarily did was heal people. Rarely, if ever, did I do coaching. And I realized how vital coaching is, because if a person has understanding as to why they are the way they are or why they're stuck, once they have understanding from different viewpoints, they can quickly shift themselves out of it and stop doing the thing that put them there or keeps them there. And then energy healing removes the big emotional and mental boulders within themselves, so it's easier for them to move forward. So combining the two, magical combination. Ted, Atma Namaste. Ted's a regular on the streams. Almost every stream, I see Ted's beautiful face come up. Mate, to your health. Where's my boy Fernando? the mate king of California. It was funny. So Fernando is a friend of mine, longtime pranic healer or hatha yogi, and I was staying at his place for one of the retreats in Oxnard, California this year. And I thought, well, wait a minute. He loves to drink mate, which is a tea primarily popular in Argentina, in South America. And this is the little container you drink it out of, right? And so I said to him, I go, hey, what's your address real quick? And he gave me his address. We sent him 2 big containers of loose leaf mate that he can mix up and drink. Actually, 3 of them, like different varieties. And then he said to me, he goes, oh man, he goes, the very week that you sent me those 3 boxes of tea, I spoke with my doctor and he says it's not good for me, it's not healthy for me, and I'm not going to do it. I'm not drinking mate anymore. And I was like, are you kidding me? Of all the times you're in your 50s and you've been drinking it since you were like a teenager, and now you're not drinking mate? What's wrong with you? Well, obviously I wasn't very good at picking up sarcasm in that moment in time. And when I saw him physically in Oxnard, California, he goes, what are you talking about? You crazy? I was kidding. I've been drinking this stuff and I will drink this stuff for the rest of my life. Why would I all of a sudden stop drinking it? I've been drinking it for like 40 years. Why would I listen to some doctor telling me not to drink mate? So my intuition wasn't very on point in that moment in time. But it's something that I've grown accustomed to over the past couple months. I've been enjoying having mates. I have 2 cups of coffee in the morning, and then I'll typically have mate in the afternoon, even up to the evening. But you know what's interesting about this is you suck it all the way to the bottom, right? So you make sure like there's no liquids at the bottom. And whenever you do that, whenever you suck it dry, in essence, you get this hit of caffeine that I swear, stronger than anything I've ever experienced with coffee, with chocolate. And there was this very interesting combination that him and I, with a few other friends, were sitting at a training, a pranic healing or hatha yoga training in California. And he brings his thermos with hot water. He brings his mate. And it's traditional to share mate with friends and loved ones, right? So you make one mate and you fill it up and you take 1 slurp of super hot water, right? And then you fill it up again, pass it to the next person. That's kind of the tradition, if you will. I'm still learning as I go. And so I didn't know this, but he literally will be pouring hot water and slurping and passing it around for hours and hours and hours. Hours. And it was either him or somebody else just happened to have chocolate espresso beans, right? Chocolate espresso beans. We started busting that out too. About 7 hours into it, my clients are so wonderful. About 7 hours into it, my pupils were so dilated, my kidneys were so pulsating, my Meng chakra was pulsating, that my vision was blurred. I had a hard time seeing the instructor and a hard time seeing the PowerPoint presentation because I was so jacked up on caffeine. It was unreal. So it kind of makes sense more so now why he has so much energy. It's partly because of his pranic healing or hatha yoga practice, generating a tremendous amount of bioenergy within his energy field, within his aura and chakras, and drinking mate for 7 to 8 to 9 hours straight, and then throw in some chocolate-covered espresso beans, and you have a great combination to stay up for the rest of your life. So, that being said, if you guys don't have any questions, which is okay, because I know people are in and out of the streams, feel free to throw out a question about energy healing, meditation, practical spirituality, about my teacher, about a challenge that you're having. Maybe you don't want to make it public, so you can say, I have this friend, right? And see if we can offer some value to you. And because that's what these streams are all about. It's about offering you guys value. It's about inspiring you to transform yourself from the inside out. And I had this interesting observation about being inspired. So last night I'm flipping through Netflix, finished the day of healing, day of meditation practice, and it's later in the evening, maybe 9. Adriana, namaste, it's maybe 9 o'clock. And I'm on Netflix, and I see a whole series of Bob Ross videos coming up on Netflix. Now, some of you may or may not know, Bob Ross basically popularized, I think it's oil paintings in the late 80s. And he's the guy that has a huge afro, and a lot of people during Halloween, for some reason, go as Bob Ross. And he's got like this very significant cult following. Super sweet guy, super kind. And I've always loved his paintings. But one of his brandings, if you will, is he has a very soothing, calm voice when he's painting. And he does this thing with his paintbrush where he smacks the wet paintbrush on one of the legs that's holding the canvas. And he says, beat the devil out of it. Like, that's one of his catchphrases. And he's so sweet. And he became super, super successful doing something that he was deeply passionate about and loved and enjoyed, was painting. And I just realized I'm sitting here in my apartment in Denver, Colorado, and I'm watching a video from the late 80s that I used to watch as a child when I was 8, 9 years old in Massachusetts on public broadcasting station on PBS. And I remember being 8, 9 years old, and I would just sit and I would listen to his voice, and I would be like lulled to sleep. It was like meditative for me even before I knew what meditation was. But one of my friends was saying that his voice is too boring. Jillian, namaste, that his voice is too boring. And I was like, what are you talking about? His voice is too boring. It's Bob Ross. Man's a legend. Then another friend of mine, I thought this was super funny. Another friend of mine says, oh, do you know Bob Ross does cocaine? And I go, there is no way that Bob Ross does cocaine. Have you seen Bob Ross's videos? The guy is cool, calm, and collected the entire 25 minutes that he's filming himself, painting a little cabin with squirrels and, whatever hanging around. There's no way Bob Ross has a cocaine habit. No way. She goes, I'm telling you, he's got a cocaine habit. And I go, well, how do you know he's got a cocaine habit? She goes, look at his pinky nail. Look at his pinky nail, right? And I was like, okay. She goes, it's a long pinky nail. That's a coke nail. And I go, what are you talking about? Yeah, people put coke in the little pinky nail and then they snort it up their nose. And I go, what? I don't do cocaine, if you haven't figured that out. So she goes, he's got a cocaine habit. Well, went online, consulted with Professor Google, and found out that he doesn't have a cocaine habit, and he doesn't have a long pinky nail because he's into cocaine, but it's actually it's what painters use to remove excess paint from their canvases. They use their nail. And I was like, blown away by that. So isn't it funny how we perceive the world through certain filters in our own life experience, that we look out and we go, well, obviously, coke habit, because this particular person I know has done coke in the past. So I thought that was funny because I didn't notice that. And speaking of perception, I remember when I took my very first pranic healing class in March of 2009, 2004, March of 2004. And I remember the instructor said, by the end of this weekend, so it started Friday night, by the end of this weekend, you are going to perceive the world energetically. You're going to perceive the world energetically. And I was like, what does that even mean? And then the weekend came and went, and I realized, wow, I'm looking at the world from an energy perspective versus looking at it from a purely physical perspective, or purely psychological perspective, or purely sexual perspective, or purely fill in the blank. So when you train your mind and your viewpoint to perceive the world energetically, you're able to see many, many, many other layers and levels of truth, which is profound. And it's interesting because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once you see truth, once you see a higher level of truth, you can never go back to that lower level of truth. Kind of interesting. And speaking of levels of truth, so a good example would be for the spiritual people out there, for the yoga practitioners out there, you've heard of this 7 chakra model, right? We have 7 chakras, right? 7 notes of music, 7 colors in the rainbow, 7 days of the week, 7 chakras. Make sense? So there is this young man who was a clairvoyant who trained with one of the masters in pranic healing. And he was super, super accurate with the 7 chakra model. So that the master pointed to the lower back of one of the patients, pointed to the lower back, and he says, "What do you see?" And he's like, "I don't see anything." And he says, "Okay, right here, there's a chakra called the Meng chakra that deals with this, this, and this." All of a sudden, he was able to see a chakra where he wasn't able to see a chakra before. Now, does that mean that chakra didn't exist before he could see it? No, it existed before he could see it. He just didn't have the awareness and the right viewpoint about it. Now, guess what? From now on, for the rest of his incarnation, he will not be able to unsee that chakra. Because now he's seen it, he's validated, he knows its existence, and so he can't unsee it. So that's the thing about truth. Once we're exposed to truth, once we have a realization of that truth, it's impossible to unsee it. It's impossible to unsee it. So, kind of an interesting way of looking at the world. So the goal is to constantly expand our viewpoint and to make it more and more and more and more accurate over time, right? Because some viewpoints are less accurate than others. Would that make sense? Is that a fair statement? So it's like, if you learn arithmetic, 1 + 1 = 2, and then you learn about multiplication and division, does that mean the lower level of truth of 1 + 1 = 2 is wrong? Absolutely not. It's another level of truth. And then you go from there to learning fractions, and then going from fractions to learning algebra, and from algebra learning trigonometry or geometry, and then going from there to learning calculus. Does that mean the person who knows calculus is more developed than everyone else below them? Not necessarily, but it means that that person has a higher level of truth than the person who only knows arithmetic. So that's the goal of our lives, is to constantly expand and deepen our viewpoint, our understandings, our realizations. And when we say realizations, it's another way of saying illumination. It's another way of saying enlightenment. And people have this misunderstanding about enlightenment, that it's an on or off switch. Either you're completely in the dark, or you're like Eckhart Tolle sitting on a park bench for 2.5 years, blissed out in samadhi as an enlightened person. It's not on or off. It's a gradual transformation of energy. It's a gradual awakening, right? So that's why it's so important to do your spiritual practice daily. It's so important to get energy healing done regularly. It's so important to look at your viewpoints on a daily basis. It's so important to fill in the blank because it's a gradual process of realization. It's not, there are certain examples of somebody going from one day they wake up, Matt, I'm in namaste. They wake up, they have a realization, but here's the thing. That person who had the illumination, the awakenment, the enlightenment, they had done previous work, either in this lifetime or previous incarnations, to entitle themselves to the higher awakenings, the higher realizations. Prima namaste. Does that make sense? So it's a process of awakening. It's a process of unfoldment. And we want to keep unfolding that throughout our entire lives. It's a beautiful journey. I can't recommend it enough. I've dedicated the last 20 years of my life to it, and I've dedicated the last 15 years of my life of working with clients one-on-one to help them through their own awakenings, right? It's like there's an old saying that you don't talk to the person going on the journey, you talk to the person coming back from the journey. So your goal as an individual is to find the highest caliber person you can get access to who can show you the way, who can show you the journey of what it's like coming back, right? Which is not always easy to do. And I'll leave you guys with this. There's an old saying that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. It's not entirely accurate. A more accurate way of saying it is, when the student is ready, the right teacher will appear. Meaning, if you're in kindergarten and you're getting ready to go into first grade, do you need a college history professor in your life? No, right? Autumn, namaste. You need a first grade teacher, right? When you're in junior high and you're getting ready to go into high school, do you need a first grade teacher or do you need a high school, a freshman teacher, a high school teacher, right? You need a high school teacher. So when the student is ready, the right teacher will appear. So the more advanced the student is, the more advanced the teacher they will attract, right? Does that make sense? The more advanced the student is, the more advanced the teacher will be that they attract. That's making sense. Good. I'm glad you're getting it. So, any other questions, comments, clarifications you guys are seeking before we end tonight's stream? Thank you for being on. Thank you for asking questions. Thank you for sharing your energy with the group. May the good karma come back to you many, many times. And I look forward to uploading many, many, many more streams on Facebook and YouTube over the next several months and upcoming years. And if you guys have suggestions for topics you would like us to cover around energy healing, meditation, and practical spirituality, please let me know. James, namaste. Fellow high school, junior high, Brohim. Another great session. Dean, you're very welcome. Again, all credit to Grandmaster Cho Koksui. He's the person who taught me what I know, as well as the senior practitioners and masters within pranic healing. And I give credit to them of the countless hours of practice and service and healings and dedications they've done for tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people around the world. So very, very grateful to them and for them. All right, that being said, if I can assist you with your healing process, my website's my name. Very easy. No, my name isn't very easy. The website's very easy. ChristianRLong.com. ChristianRLong.com. You can schedule a consultation right there, or you can schedule a coaching and healing session right there as well. I make it super easy to do business with me because my business is the business of healing, the business of transformation, the business of making better people. So I hope I can help you with that. And that's it, guys. So I bid you farewell on this Monday. Have a great, phenomenal rest of your day, and I will talk to you soon. This is Christian Long, Life Enhancement Consultant. Atma. Namaste. Bye-bye.